everyone, so this is my first mummy video since Archie's been born, and I don't know whether to do a little series called Mummy Bobo or something. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. But this is my labour and delivery story, which has been very highly requested, and I wanted to give it a few weeks before I actually sat down and filmed this so I could just take it all in and explain to you exactly what happened. And obviously here is the little man himself. If you've been watching our vlogs, then you will have seen lots of him over the last few weeks, but maybe you haven't caught up with them yet and this is your first time meeting baby Archie. I won't go into too much detail about everything about him because I could talk about him literally all day, and I'm going to do updates on him very soon, his 1 month update and stuff like that, and carrying on if you guys want to see that. But I just wanted to show you him in this video because obviously it's all about his arrival into the world, and just say that he's literally the best thing that's ever happened to me and he's absolutely amazing. So his great nanny and granddad around and they're just looking after him for a little while I film some videos, and I'm going to go take him back downstairs so they can look after him and I can tell you all about Archie's story. So my due date was the 18th of August, which was a Monday, and nothing was really happening at all. That day came and went. I was very upset. Then let's fast forward on to Thursday the 21st of August. I started getting pains in the afternoon, sort of about 4 o'clock, and I really thought things were starting. They weren't very often, but I thought the pains that I was getting were contractions, just not regular ones. Ricky came home from work and then the evening went on and they just gradually, I started to feel worse and worse, I would say. By about 12 o'clock that night I was in quite a lot of pain, and I can't exactly remember the pain, but it was sort of a sharp pain and there was a lot of pressure, and I assumed this was the feeling of going into labour. So after this, as it got quite bad, I decided to go and have a bath. This completely helped, but it completely stopped everything as well, and just nothing was going on after that. I was so tired from a day of being in pain literally like every 5-10 minutes. I just got into bed after that and went to sleep and woke up the next morning and didn't feel fine, but I definitely wasn't in labour. So the next few days just kind of dragged on. They were the longest days of my life. I felt like I was on like slow-mo. So it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday of feeling in a bit of pain, feeling like crap. I actually ended up going up to the hospital on Friday night, not because I thought I was in labour, but I felt sick. I thought I had the flu. Everyone was kind of telling me that it was just pregnancy related and due to the fact that I was about to have the baby. But I just felt so weird. Anyway, I went up there. I don't think they were that happy with me. They wanted me to go to A&E, not the pregnancy unit. But my mum put her foot down. She was like, she's about to have a baby. She's not going to go and sit up in A&E for like 6 hours. So I went up there. There was literally no other people up there. We got seen straight away, and I got told I was dehydrated. So everyone got annoyed with me because I think I just was starting to get really down about him not being here yet, and looking back, I don't think I was eating and drinking as much as I should, which is terrible, but I didn't realise I was doing it. So after that, over the weekend, everyone just kind of tried to cheer me up a little bit. I don't know why I was getting myself so down. He was gonna come along eventually, but it's just the way I felt. Hormones and feeling ill and stuff and feeling crap just made me feel worse. So the weekend came and went, and Monday, and looking back, I think throughout that long weekend I was in early, I think that was a long weekend actually, I think it was Bank Holiday Monday, but I was in early labour. Just it wasn't regular and it wasn't that bad, and to be honest it felt like really bad period pains and like just the kind of way you feel at that time of the month. Sorry if this is TMI, but it's probably going to get worse. You're probably watching this video because you want to know these kind of things, I guess. It was a really long 4 or 5 days. So fast forward again to Tuesday, very early in the morning, Tuesday, the middle of the night, 4:20 I think it was. I suddenly woke up in the night and my waters had broken, and I remember saying, Ricky, my waters have broken, and he was like, what? I think he was just fed up with me after the last 5 days, and he was like, are you sure? And then I kind of got up and he was like, oh yeah, right, we better go to the hospital. So he rang the hospital, they invited us up there, and we went up there and we thought, this is it, the baby's coming. I got up there, I wasn't examined or anything like that. They just kind of said, right, your waters are broken, you're not in active labour because I wasn't having regular contractions. Please come back when the contractions are 2 to 3 minutes apart and they're lasting roughly 40 seconds. So by about 6 o'clock we were back home and I was ready to just throw myself on the floor and cry. I'd also been given an induction date. My induction date that I'd been given before for the following Saturday had been now moved forward to, I think it was within the next 24 hours because my waters had broken, because obviously there's a risk of infection if you're left for too long. So I was going to be going back up there the next day and I'd kind of accepted that. We were back at home and this is where you may have seen in the vlogs, we sat down in the living room, I started doing my makeup, had my breakfast, I was getting contractions, I knew there were contractions now and they hurt, but I didn't know, in my head these were going to go on for days. These were just very early contractions to me. So that was up until about 8:30 and by about this time they'd like kicked up a gear and I didn't realise, this sounds so stupid now looking back, but I thought I needed to go to the toilet and I thought that feeling and the contractions were making the pain worse than it needed to be. That wasn't the case, that is labour pains, but that's how it felt. So I was like freaking out thinking, oh my god, this is really bad, but I can't go to the toilet, I don't know what to do. So it got to about 9. They were bad by this point. I was kind of crippling down on the floor every time I got one and they were coming every 2 to 3 minutes. Like Ricky kept me at home right until the last second. They weren't probably lasting 40 seconds. I don't even know how long they were lasting. I think some were lasting like 20 seconds, some were lasting a minute. I don't know. I was way out of it by this point. And all I kept saying is, I'm just going to have the baby here. I'm not moving. I'm not going to that hospital. It's too far. So anyway, Ricky made me get up. He was really like firm but fair, which he needed to be with me. He was like, you need to get in the car. We're going to the hospital. I had to get in the back of the car. I couldn't put my seatbelt on or anything. I was literally just like sitting up. Like I couldn't sit down. There's no way I could sit down. And actually, I remember one contraction. I was screaming and I could see Ricky through the mirror. What's it called? Not the rear view mirror. Yeah, the rear view mirror. I could see him looking at me. He was laughing at me and I was like, why are you laughing at me? And he was just going, I'm sorry babe, I can't help it, it's just making me laugh. I think he was nervous, scared, and the fact that I probably sounded like a cow giving birth, all of that put together made him laugh. And looking back at now, it's quite funny, but at the time I wanted to punch him in the face. We got to the hospital and the hospital nearest to us is the most ridiculously laid out place ever. The car park is probably a 10 to 15 minute walk to where the hospital is. You have to go up a massive flight of stairs and right to the other end of the hospital down a very, very long corridor. I would say, like I said, it's like a 10-15 minute walk. We were trying to walk and I just couldn't do it. Every 2 minutes I was like crumbling down on the floor. Again, I had my head in Ricky's chest. I was in pyjama bottoms which were draping all over the floor. It was pouring down with rain, so they were dragging. I looked like a drowned rat. He put his hoodie on me and I just kind of cocooned myself in it while I was having these contractions. Eventually, some really kind people brought us a wheelchair and there were actually a few people behind them with wheelchairs that were a bit later that had seen us in the car park and heard me screaming and gone and got the wheelchair. So in the end we were wheeled up there and we got to the birthing centre where we had been that morning. So then we got into the triage room, which is the room where you're checked. They check to see how many centimetres you're dilated, do your blood pressure, check baby's heartbeat, all of that stuff. I was in the wheelchair at this point with my eyes closed and my head back, screaming, and suddenly I heard a voice behind me. It was a midwife. It was actually the midwife that had checked me over on the Friday night who'd basically thought I was a massive drama queen and exaggerating for feeling sick and having a bad stomach and all of that. She wasn't very happy with me, basically. And when I heard her voice behind me, my heart sank a little bit, because you want a nice midwife that you can sort of remember and think, oh, I'm really glad she delivered my baby. In the end, she was good, but she wasn't that nice. She just did her job. She didn't seem that caring. I heard her voice behind me and I was kind of like, oh God, why did it have to be you of all people? I'm sorry, that might sound really nasty, but that's just how I felt at the time. And I got another contraction and I was kind of in a lot of pain, and she just said to me, I don't know why you're shouting, Katie, you're in very early labour and you need to calm down. By which point I kind of got a bit angry at this point. I went, well, if this is early labour, I cannot do this, because it was pretty bad by this point. And I thought, oh my God, I might have another 12, 24, 2 days worth of this to go. I couldn't have done it for that long. So she asked me to do a urine sample. I couldn't get up. So she was like, right, let's examine you on the bed. She examined me. She was like, you're 9 centimetres dilated. So I was like, thank God for that. I think I might have even said thank something else for that. By this point my mum had arrived. It all happened really quick, so she wasn't there straight away, but I was really glad that she'd got there in time. And after she told me I was 9 centimetres dilated, it just gave me this strength to think, right, I can do this now. If she'd have said, oh, you're 1 centimetre dilated, I don't think I could have coped, because the pain was really bad. But what I didn't realise, obviously, is the pain I was in was the last bit of pain just before you're about to have the baby. I know everybody's different and experiences it differently, but I was in that sort of last really bad bit by this point. So I asked if I could have painkillers or gas and air or something. She was like, no, it's too late for that. So we just cracked on and got going. So I had Ricky there. He was kind of behind my head and I was gripping onto him quite hard, and my mum was by the side of me. We were still in the triage room. We didn't have time to get into the birthing centre. We didn't have time to do anything apart from get the baby out, because he was coming out. I honestly felt like he was going to be born in the car park, if I was honest, but because I've never had a baby before, I didn't know if that feeling of needing to push was real, but it was the last bit. So it probably in the end took about half an hour of us being there, kind of getting examined, my mum arriving, I was pushing, and he arrived. I don't really know how to explain the pain of the birth tube, because I know when I was pregnant, that's what I asked a lot of people. I wanted to know what kind of pain it was. That's what seemed to be important to me. Not like how painful it was, but what kind of pain, because I felt like I could deal with certain pains better than others. That pain I had on the Thursday night, I now kind of realise was him, I think, finally moving down to where he needed to get ready to be born. That's why it was sort of a sharp pain, which I'd been getting for a few weeks anyway. The pain of actually delivering the baby was completely different. To me, and again, TMI, just putting it out there, it was like you need to do the biggest poo ever. I know they say that on One Born Every Minute every single week, but it really is. It feels like the baby's going to come out your bum. I mean, I can't lie, it was the worst pain I've ever been in my life, but it really wasn't as bad, half as bad as I was expecting it to be. I've been freaking out about it pretty much since I found out I was pregnant, how painful it was going to be. It really wasn't as bad as I thought. I know, like I said, everybody's different, but I just want to reassure anyone that's maybe about to have a baby that's watching this, that you can do it and it's really not that bad. If I can get through it without any pain relief, then you will honestly be absolutely fine. And I hate it when people just want to tell you horror stories, because especially when you're actually pregnant, it just scares the life out of you. So I really wouldn't freak out about it too much. It's a big deal, but if I was to say to you that if I could have another labour like that, then I would do it again, like tomorrow. Not tomorrow, obviously, I don't want another baby yet. But what I'm trying to say is I would do it again, so it can't be that bad and you forget about it pretty quickly. So yeah, that's everything that happened really. I mean, I could go on to tell you about, you know, staying in the hospital. We stayed in there for one night and everything was kind of fine and you're just getting used to having your new baby. But what I want to do is a video about Archie and his first sort of month. I'd like to do a monthly update if you guys would be interested in that, so let me know below and I will try and do that. So even though this video is baby related, I still want to do all my different kinds of videos. So please leave comments in the box below letting me know what videos you'd like to see coming up, whether they are mummy and baby related ones or fashion and beauty related ones, vlogs or lifestyle videos. Let me know what your favourites are and any suggestions that you have, and I really hope you enjoyed this video and hearing about my labour and delivery story. Let me know if you have any questions too, because I'm always happy to help if I can. Thank you for watching everyone. Bye!